You're listening to The Credit Pros on Real Estate Radio New Jersey with local credit experts Damon DiCrescenzo and attorney Jason Kaplan. Now, here's Jason and Damon.
My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
Welcome back, New Jersey. It's the Credit Pros here on Real Estate Radio Network. Damon's in the studio, Rocco's in the studio, and we're just talking a little bit about credit.
So thank you for joining us on a beautiful Sunday. And we reviewed some important things in the first segment about some squirm-worthy credit moments.
Can I give one more, Damon? Because we didn't get to one, which really is very impressive.
Sure,
today.
but before you do, you listen to the Credit Pros. Pick up the phone and give us a call because we're taking calls today. I want to get those calls in today. I see a few people that are waiting for us. We'll be picking them up in a few. Our number is 973-771-5118. Again, 973-771-5118, or hit us up on the web at creditrepair.to. What do you got? Let's make it fast, Jason. Go.
Fine. The last cringeworthy credit situation. Okay, Phil, we have these special clients you have to take out to dinner. Why don't you just put it on your credit card and we'll reimburse you tomorrow?
Yeah, that's nasty. And then what happens if you're maxed out, right? And your employer really doesn't know your credit situation. The best way I think of dealing with that is don't carry high credit, right? I don't wind up in a terrible situation because of it.
I think you should just say, no, I need a company credit card. I don't know what you do in that situation. What do? You struggle and you go and borrow money from someone?
What do? I say, no, I need a company credit card with gas in a car and all that other stuff. And they say, well, there's the door. Don't let it hit you where the dog should have bit you.
Yeah, that's true.
So thank you for that, Jason. I want to take a minute to talk about some legal stuff. So, Rocco, you're with Prepaid Legal, and before we even get into Prepaid Legal, I want to talk about my personal experiences.
Okay.
I've probably, for those who know me, know that I'm a serial entrepreneur. It's sort of my downfall in life. I like to start companies and grow them. And so I've probably paid more to attorneys than the gross domestic product of most of the states in our union. So I've paid a lot of money. And I probably could have avoided some of those problems had I had your services. Because some of the problems that I had were addressable. And when you pay an attorney on an hourly basis and they think you got money, they're in for billing you and bilking you at the same time. So let's take a minute, and I'm sure that you relate to me, but introduce yourself. Give me a little bit about you and how you wound up working with Prepaid Legal.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm sure Jason is not one of those attorneys that overcharges.
No.
I just wanted to.
We always undercharge.
Yeah. Okay. And that's what I thought, and that's why I wanted to come on here. But myself, I've now been working with Prepaid Legal for a few years, and I found the company by accident. Like yourself, I consider myself somewhat of an entrepreneur, and in one of the other businesses that I had, I dealt with a client base that had claimed multiple issues of things like identity theft and things being taken from them and them being treated unfairly. And so I was approached by another representative from the company to use the service to be able to give my clients access to lawyers and the ability for them to protect their identities through a program that they have. And I just found it to be a nice fit. And within a few short months, I was able to almost do it on a full-time basis is where I want to be at, because I found that the company has everything that I'm looking for to work with a business.
So there's two different parts of this, and we'll talk about the first part, the consumer side of this, why this insurance, if you will, is so important to not only the business owner like myself, but to everyday consumers. What's included in this plan that makes it important?
Well, the first thing is that statistically speaking, all of us in this room, except for maybe Jason, is twice as likely to wind up in a courtroom for an issue than we are in the hospital. So that's an actuary statistic that our company has drummed up from all the users that we have, about 1.7 million families who own our plan. The coverage that you get can vary depending on the state, but the long and short of it is that the areas of coverage which we call our preventative legal services is unlimited in consultation and advice with a top-rated attorney that's an expert in any area of law that you ever need the help with. The law firms will also review contracts for our members, whether it's something that you sign, something that you will sign, or just some legal documents that you want to be able to get an opinion on. If any of our members are having a legal dispute with an individual or a company, you have a insurance company that won't pay a bill, neighbor puts their fence 10 feet on your property line, we actually have the ability to have our law firm step in, write a letter or make a phone call on our members' behalf, letting the other party know that, our members been advised of what their legal rights are, and if the situation is not resolved, they'll pursue whatever legal recourse is available to them. So that helps resolve a lot of issues before it gets really ugly, like you mentioned.
Right.
Some of the other things that we do, we do help our members prepare a comprehensive will with a durable power of attorney and healthcare proxy.
Well, let's stay on that for a second.
Sure.
I am appalled by how many people don't have a will. If you're listening to my voice right now and you do not have a will, you need to stand up, look in the mirror, and then call Rocco, because it is really atrocious. You have an obligation to yourself and to your family to put this kind of information on paper. I don't care if you're 21, 51, or 91. Everyone needs a will. And I think that it's a wonderful thing that a will is included in this, or the preparation of a will is included in the prepaid legal program.
The other important thing about that is what most people don't realize, if you have children and something happens to the parents and there's not a will in place, the children automatically, regardless of the family situation, you could have nice in-laws and all that stuff, but if there's no will in place, the children automatically become wards of the state. We also prepare the healthcare proxy if any of our members become incapacitated. Who's making your medical decisions? Who's paying your bills?
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Rocco Cilio from Prepaid Legal Services. If you have any concerns about this stuff, or you want to know a little bit more about his wonderful program, give him a call at 732-961-6603. Again, 732-961-6603. You can also email him, rcilio, S-I-L-E-O, at prepaidlegal.com. Regarding the healthcare stuff, if this stuff isn't defined, and let's say you slip and fall, crack your head, and you are incapacitated, without that information clearly defined, then it's up to the courts.
That's right.
That's a scary thing. And I know personally, because I have children, how important it is. And I'm probably a little bit negligent too, because I don't revisit this stuff as much as I probably should.
That's a great point. Before I became an associate of the company, my first business I opened up when I was 24 years old, and I immediately got my will done. At that point in time, I was single. I didn't have a lot of assets. I had a big life insurance policy. That's about it. Since that time, before I became an associate, I opened 2 other businesses, married, have a little baby, and all of a sudden didn't realize until I became an associate of this company, I never updated it.
Right.
So included in the membership, you can also have those documents updated once a year at no charge.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What's usually the price for something like this?
Well, it depends on your state, but in most states, it's never more than really $1 a day. You can pay a little bit more money for some extra coverage. We do have court representation for civil lawsuits and traffic court representation included in those benefits as well. And the price can be a little bit more expensive if a member requests more trial time hours in a yearly plan. So,
I think that's important. I know that a lot of people like me like to drive fast, and if they get speeding tickets, then they can use this service to help them address the problems with speeding tickets.
Absolutely.
Right?
Do different states mandate that you pay different amounts of money? You were saying that depending on what state you're in?
Yeah, we live in the state of New Jersey, which is obviously difficult to do anything in when it comes to business. So we're governed by banking and insurance laws. And just until recently, our benefits in New Jersey for our plan were limited to the preventative stuff we talked about, not courtroom appearances, where in other parts of the country, there's courtroom appearances. So it really depends on what the state regulators say of what we can offer. But now in New Jersey, we have a full plan. We're able to get courtroom representation for people included in the coverage, and it varies. So somebody, for example, you can have a plan where you pay, say, $26 a month, where you're afforded 100 hours a year of pre-trial and trial time, versus a plan that may be a couple dollars less, where you only get 60 hours a year of pre-trial and trial time.
If you're just joining us, this is the Credit Pros on Real Estate Radio. If you have a question for Rocco or myself or Jason, pick up the phone and give us a call. We're taking calls today, 973-771-5118. Again, 973-771-5118. Or you can reach Rocco to talk about prepaid legal services anytime at 732-961-6603.
The reason why I let Rocco come on the show today, because I guess most lawyers would probably be cringing at this attack on their revenue that prepaid legal is offering. Luckily for me, I don't litigate really anymore. So I don't show up in the courts and I don't have to do all that pre-litigation time. But that stuff can really become costly and expensive.
So it leads to the question, how can it possibly be so cheap then?
Right. And that's usually the common question we get from a member before they become a member is, I'm paying $25 a month, $26 a month. Am I going to get $26 a month service? So the secret to our success is leverage. There's 1.7 million families across the country who pay for the plan every month. In the state of New Jersey, we're up to almost 40,000 members, which is a drop in the bucket. However, the designated provider law firm in the state gets a third of those monthly membership fees as a retainer fee from our corporate office. Oh. So the Madelman, Weinroth, and Miller, who happens to be the main provider law firm in New Jersey, is picking up $400,000 a month to handle the members in the state of New Jersey. The 40,000 people that have the plan aren't using the service every day.
I'd be very curious to see exactly how much they were using it. That's a curious number. Well, how many of those people are actually, do you think, making claims?
You know what? From each individual provider law firm, their statistics are reported to our corporate office, and I'll shoot you in a separate email to let you know, but there is a ton of usage of the plan, more than you might think.
So let's use it for that for a second. Then this happens to everyone. This kind of issues, these kinds of problems happen to everyone. You know what I think, too? I think that a lot of people let a lot of things roll off their backs or brush off their shoulders that perhaps they shouldn't. That if they had cheap legal advice, then maybe that slip and fall that they had would be worth calling an attorney, or maybe that next door neighbor who put the fence on their property. Right. A lot of people let things slide that perhaps they shouldn't, just because they don't want to walk down that road. They think that it's too cumbersome or too expensive or too much of a headache.
Yeah, the two things is we try, and if you're able to take the cost of using an attorney out of the equation, people would use attorneys a lot more. And we're, like you mentioned, we're generally conditioned to accept certain injustice that are done to us because it's usually more expensive to get help.
Right. And suck it up.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just throw you a real quick example. 2 years ago, I was coming back from Atlantic City. I got into an accident on the Parkway, and my insurance company told me that they would only pay for the rental car for the time period while the car was in the shop being fixed, which would have been okay, but they didn't send an adjuster to my house for 4 days.
Right.
$30 a day for a rental car is not the end of the world. But however, if I didn't have the plan, I'd have to call an attorney, pay him a couple $100s to write a letter, and then hope that I get my $120 back. Doesn't make financial sense either way.
Or suck it up like most people do,
or
and take the loss.
And take the loss. But
absolutely.
Instead, I had the plan. I was able to fax in a copy of the accident report and a copy of the bill from the rental car place. They drafted up a nasty letter to my insurance company. A week lator, I got a check and an apology.
Everyone has gone through that.
Even taking it a step further, me being an attorney, even if it doesn't have to do with really litigation or suing someone, the idea that you have a buffer between the emotional self that you are and the person that you're trying to deal with really makes a difference. It's not necessarily always so much that it's a lawyer and they know the law. It's more so that it's one step removed from the irate consumer or the irate individual, and you can actually have a legitimate conversation without yelling at each other.
And it's good that you said that, because I was going to ask you about, I can imagine, it's running through my head 1,000 different reasons. I got shafted by my insurance every time I've ever been into an accident with my vehicle. I've always been shorted money. Always, without fail. That's their model. That's their MO. That's why they're in business. Right. Talk to me about pre-existing conditions. How does that work?
So with the court representation, it's not like you can become a member today and you got a traffic ticket yesterday.
Right.
You have to have the membership first. However, I just spoke with a woman this morning who had an issue with her landlord. It's an ongoing thing. They're going back and forth. He won't fix the property. She doesn't want to pay anymore. And we were able to bring her aboard as a member, use a lease that she signed 3 years ago to be faxed into the law firm, and try and have an attorney address her situation. So there are things that are necessarily considered pre-existing conditions that you can get immediate help with, as long as it's not courtroom representation.
And
it's if it goes, a different animal.
If it's off the list of things that prepaid legal can help with, like, for example, if an attorney needs to roll up their sleeves and go above and beyond do they get some sort of a discount on attorneys' fees on the hourly rate that they're going to charge?
And first of all, I just want to also mention all of our provider law firms are AV-rated law firms, which that's generally for an attorney who wants to be rated. That's a good way that would be almost like the A+ Better Business Bureau type scenario, you know. But if anybody wants to use the law firms beyond the planned coverage, for example, you did get a traffic ticket yesterday, but you just became a member today. So instead of paying full price, we still always offer a 25% member discount off the firm's normal rates.
That's awesome.
For anything else they need to use the lawyers for.
How's it work with divorce?
Well, actually, I just had a breakfast with a guy last week who used the plan to get a divorce, and the attorney basically the attorney didn't go to court with him, but she reviewed the other attorney's divorce papers, all the settlements that they were going through, and just by going back and forth and using the consultation and document review, he was able to represent himself. However, if they did want the attorney to go into the courtroom with him, which again we're trying to resolve the issue financially speaking in the best way possible, but 25% member discount is still available for anything going on in your life legally if you need representation.
Nothing like a good break on a law firm, because God knows that stuff is really expensive. If you're just joining us, I want to thank you for joining us. That is real-world information on a wonderful, wonderful service and a wonderful product. Rocco Cilio from Prepaid Legal Services has some good information to speak with you about, and I suggest you pick up the phone and you give him a call now without hesitating. His number is 732-961-6603, 732-961-6603, or on the web, prepaidlegal.com/hub/rcilio.
And when we come back after the break, we're going to do a little bit of some credit true false. We have what they don't want you to know. Rocco's going to stick around, and I think we're going to try to squeeze in a phone call or two if we have a moment as well. So stick around on the Real Estate Radio Network. I'm Jason Kaplan with Damon DiCrescenzo.
And remember, we're still taking phone calls. We have a couple of slots open. Give us a call. We'd like to talk to you in the last segment. 973-771-5118. 973-771-5118. See you after the break.
For all your credit problems, concerns, or questions, call the show's off-air number at 973-771-5118 and speak to the hosts of the show, Damon DiCrescenzo and attorney Jason Kaplan, directly. 973-771-5118. This program is brought to you by the Real Estate Radio Network. Visit realestateradio.us for more info. That's realestateradio.us. The Credit Pros on Real Estate Radio New Jersey is hosted by local credit and finance experts Damon DiCrescenzo and attorney Jason Kaplan. The purpose of the show is to help consumers understand what's really going on with their credit. They're teaching you the why and the how-to, so you'll always be one step ahead of everyone else. If you are having problems qualifying for a purchase, or you're tired of high interest rates because of bad credit, Jason Kaplan can help. Call Jason directly at 973-771-5118. That's 973-771-5118. Take advantage of speaking with Jason anytime you're having a credit problem. Having someone who can answer all of your questions that truly cares about you and your family's best interest is priceless. Call Jason Kaplan and the Credit Pros today, and you'll be glad you did. 973-771-5118. That's 973-771-5118, or you can visit creditrepair.to for more info. For all your credit problems, concerns, or questions, call the show's off-air number at 973-771-5118 and speak to the hosts of the show, Damon DiCrescenzo and attorney Jason Kaplan, directly. 973-771-5118.